And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, if you saw my review of Kaosball, you know I'm a big fan of it. Today we're going to take a look at the first 4 expansion teams. These teams can each be brought in. We have the Samaria Barbarians, the St. Cloud Paragons, the Worcestershire Goblins, and the Shannon Vale Ninjas. Each of these boxes comes, you open it up, and it will have a plastic tray with all the miniatures in there on the table right now, and then the board for that, and possibly some special things. None of these do. They also each come with a custom die, which doesn't mean anything because remember these dice are only used for first player marker and turn order, but still I guess you have more cool dice with weird sides on them. Storing these things is interesting. I'm going to try to store as much as I can in the main box as possible, but you're here to find out about these teams. Let's take a look. Okay, the first thing we want to notice here is the different teams, and team number 1 here is the Goblins. And of the 17 teams that I played, this is my least favorite team. But that is not because they're not good, it's just because they are definitely not my style. Here are the Goblins. You can see that the Goblin figures are very, very small. In fact, they're Goblins. What did you expect? And although I find it funny that their team manager is this beautiful woman here. She's working with all these goblins. Anyhow, the goblins have really low hit points. They have low hit points for bruisers and for runners, and they have no special stats. Their special ability is to mosh pit. Groupies, I guess these guys are. At the end of your turn, if you have 2 of these folks at least 2 surrounding another figure on 2 sides, then that person is sent back to the bench. Now that is a huge deal. You know, if I'm here and someone's here and I have the angel here and I immediately send them back to the bench, that's a really big deal. For me, this one's a hard one to pull off in a 2-player game. This one works much better in a 3 or 4-player game because it's easier to sneak those goblins up. But as soon as you leave a goblin next to somebody, they're either going to move or they're going to try to beat that goblin up, and they'll probably succeed because it's this is a really powerful ability to just throw someone out of the game. I mean, they can come back in on a future one, but still. It's really interesting how the goblins work. Now that's kind of counterpunted by the angels, or here they're called the Paragons. And these guys here are, I don't know, are they bullies? Are they brats? I'm not really quite sure. They have the dark blue era, and they have some really cool looking models. The runners are cool, but I really like how the bruiser looks. I mean, that's just some, again, Cool Mini or Not always does a great job with all their models. And their coach is I don't know how the coaches never seem to match the teams, but anyhow, they're not nearly that powerful either. I mean, they have 3 and 2 for the hit points, although they have 1 in all stats, which is a good thing. But what's really interesting is you can bench one of them to give somebody else +2. So let's say he's in combat with a goblin. All right? Right before the combat, I can pull this guy off, and he now is +2 to the combat against the goblin. He already was a +1, that makes him a +3. This allows them to kind of even up the score with anybody. But you are removing one of your 5 people from the field. But you don't use everybody in every battle anyway, usually, or every game. So pulling off 2 or 3 in each quarter can be a really interesting thing. Not to mention, you can pull them off before they get killed. Maybe they're in a dangerous situation. It's a really interesting thing and can be used very successfully. It's not necessarily how I want to play. They're my 13th favorite team, but I've seen them used to great effect, usually against me. Then we have ninjas, who are apparently here modeling for the calendar and Ninja of the Year. Now their models are also good models. You can see them here. And of course the female ninja team, people are going to like that, something new and different. And I'm assuming that the teenagers will like it even more. But they have a 1 in handling and a 1 in tackling, and they're 3 and 2, so it's another weaker team. But great special ability. During a contest, if you play the same card as someone else, you automatically win. that is amazing. And when you look at the next review where I talk about the samurai, or actually I think it's a couple reviews from now, man, they're like the perfect people to take out the samurai, but still, this is Cosmic Encounter. Come to life in this. I love trying to outguess your opponent. You can, especially since you can see some of the cards that they play. What a neat thing. It says even if your energy card is dead. So they don't even try to win, they just try to match their opponent. The ninjas are my 4th favorite team. I really enjoy using them for that special ability alone. Then we have the Barbarians. Now the Barbarians are my 12th favorite, but I mean they're a very good team. I think they're like the normal team. They're 1-1-1. They're 4-3. They're a team you give to a beginner because their special ability is figures with at least 1 wound get +1 to all contests. So you just got to get them a wound somehow, some way, and they'll do really well in a contest. And they have some pretty cool axes that they're carrying around. I still want to know what sport it is that encourages people to bring around axes. So you can see their models here. A little bit of a flash on this guy here. But for the most part, these are really cool models. And this is a team that if you like very basic, straightforward stuff, I'd pick them. Now, I want to be cautious to say that even though of this set here, the ninjas were my favorite, that doesn't mean I'm saying the ninjas are the best. They're just the ones I like to play with. Like I said, I think Barbarians are really good for folks who are new into it. Goblins are more for an expert player, but they're very powerful. And the Paragons, again, that's another easy one for new folks. And while it's not necessarily the style I want to play, that's what I love about this game is there's so many different styles and how different people play. The Goblins are pretty cool against maybe the Barbarians because they can't beat them, straight up in a battle, but they can eject them from the game. And they're not going to do a lot of damage, so they won't trigger off their ability. So it's cool to see how all this stuff goes up against each other. Yeah, tune in. I'll be doing another review with the other teams that you can get. Hopefully there's one here that you will like because this is a great game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There.